There is a lot of talk in and around the community about some different changes that will be coming to Destiny 2 this November with the release of Beyond Light. If you were to search Destiny 2 on YouTube right now, you're most likely to come across a video covering one of these topics: anti cheat, updated sandbox balancing, sunsetting, adept weapons for trials, the Destiny content vault, things along those lines. Now, don't get me wrong, these are absolutely important topics that should be discussed. These are things that can prove to be vital to the growth and longevity of Destiny. However, I won't be discussing those topics today. There are already plenty of videos out there covering these topics. So if I took time to make a video discussing these, I would just be beating a dead horse. Instead, I'll be talking about some things that I personally would like to see come to Destiny 2. The things on this list are not as widely talked about within the community, but I believe them to be significant enough to be mentioned. Perhaps this will open your minds to some things you may not have even considered. They may not be as important as things like anti cheat or sandbox balancing, but I believe the things on this list have the potential to add some quality of life to the game. Not to add any additional pressure on Bungie here, but this expansion is coming out on November 10th. It's a day before my birthday. So consider these to be my birthday wishes, which means they have to come true. I'm serious. Don't test me on this, Bungie. Because even if there's one item missing from this list in the game, then I am going to get over it. Because I just love Destiny that much. Anyways, without further ado, here are 5 things on my wish list for Destiny 2 Beyond Light. First, a new secret exotic mission. This has been something I've been wanting for a while, even before Beyond Light was revealed. In my mind, I picture these type of missions to be the perfect method for bringing back Destiny 1 raid exotics into the game. They did it with 0 Hour and brought back Outbreak Prime in the form of Outbreak Perfected. They did it with the Whisper, bringing back Black Spindle, now known as Whisper of the Worm. Even though it was not a D1 raid exotic, it is still a D1 exotic brought forward into Destiny 2 with its own cool, challenging mission. I love the format of the secret missions. You have 20 minutes to complete this difficult dungeon-like experience. Once you complete it, you are rewarded with a new weapon. Personally, I would love to see a Hive-themed secret mission with the reward being Necrochasm. I loved Necrochasm. It was such a fun weapon in Destiny 1. Now, keep in mind, I had this concept before Beyond Light was announced. And what was announced with Beyond Light was the Destiny Content Vault. Now, I said I wasn't going to talk about this topic, but it is relevant to the point on my desire to see a secret mission like this come true. Bungie announced the Destiny Content Vault by telling us that the Vault of Glass raid will be coming to Destiny 2 soon after the launch of Beyond Light, and that other Destiny 1 content, including raids, are on the table to potentially make a return within Destiny 2. With that being the case, and seeing how Necrochasm was essentially the raid exotic for Crota's End in Destiny 1, making a secret mission for that weapon would not make a lot of sense if they planned to bring back the raid it originated from. It would make more sense to make it a reward from the raid returning rather than its own secret mission. Regardless, I would like to see a new secret mission in the same vein as the Whisper in 0 Hour with Beyond Light. Even if it introduces a completely new exotic, I would be cool with that. Those missions are just so much fun, man, I'm telling you. Next up, overhaul to strike-specific loot. Now, I've already shared my thoughts in a different video on the current state of strike-specific loot within Destiny 2 and how it needs some major work and how it can be improved. I'll post a link to that in the description if you'd like to watch the whole thing. I would highly recommend checking it out and let me know what you think of it. But for the sake of this video, I'll briefly explain my reasoning for including this on my wish list. An overhaul to strike-specific loot and how it is earned can really breathe new life into the strike playlists. More casual players who are either not able to or choose not to participate in the Master and Grandmaster level Nightfalls need a reason to stick around in the Strike playlist besides going for the weekly pinnacles. The fact that the current Strike-specific loot we have in the game right now is going to be sunset, this gives players even fewer reasons to grind out the Strike playlists. Having something to grind for in Strikes, regardless of skill level or difficulty, is very important. Having strike-specific loot that all players can earn and not feel like they have to search through LFGs to find a group to obtain said loot is vital for the relevance of the strike playlists. With strikes as a core activity in the game, I need a reason to run these from day to day outside of the pinnacle reward you get from completing so many a week. Again, I've already shared my thoughts on what Bungie could do to revitalize the playlist and the strike-specific loot system, So if you're interested to hear what those are, I recommend checking out my other video, where I go more in depth on the importance of strike-specific loot and how it's earned. As mentioned before, the link to that will be in the description. Number 3, a new and or revamped social space. If we look back to Destiny 1, we had a few different social spaces, with the tower still remaining to be the central hub for all players. Having the other social spaces made the game feel more expansive to me. Having different characters and quest givers you could visit across these varying locations just made the game feel bigger. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. What I do know, however, is that we have 2 social spaces in the game right now, and one of them is not even used. The farm was the first social space players encountered in the game and served as the hub for the Red War campaign. Once players finished that campaign, they unlocked the tower, and from that point on, the farm really served no purpose outside of maybe a quest or two. Something the game is lacking right now that a lot of players have wanted to have for a long time is in-game LFG. Many other games have in-game LFG, so it's not like this is something that can't exist in an MMO. I don't know if Bungie plans to keep the farm or if it will be getting faulted with the release of Beyond Light, but since the farm is not getting a lot of love right now, that would be a great social space to completely dedicate to in-game LFG. You could have different areas of the farm be dedicated to different activities, whether it be a raid or trials, should you feel brave enough to LFG in trials, or even high-level nightfalls. There could be an in-game LFG for several activities on the farm. To me, social spaces don't feel very social right now in Destiny. I would like to see something done with either our current social space or have a new social space brought into the game with some new quest givers and just an improved overall sense on what a social space should be like. Number 4, I would love to see something be done with factions. The NPCs for Dead Orbit, Future War Cult, and New Monarchy factions are all still in the game. I say use them. We have weapons, we have armor sets, shaders in the game that thematically represent these different factions. Since faction rallies are no more, as far as shaders are concerned, there's no way to get them anymore. Unless you're lucky enough to get a faction weapon or armored piece to drop randomly with a shader on it. But do the faction shaders even come with those weapons right now in the game? I haven't seen it, so I honestly don't know. All I know is that some of those faction shaders are pretty darn clean, if you ask me. So give newer players a chance to earn those shaders and gear pieces. Another note on the faction vendors themselves. These characters have interesting motives and lore behind them that could once again be expounded upon. If you're into the game's lore and story arcs, these different factions all have different ideals and views for how humanity should live and try to rebuild in this post-apocalyptic world, where the survival of humanity is at stake. These characters all have differing opinions on how Guardians and humanity should move forward. These are interesting little tidbits of lore that have just been cast to the wayside. I say bring them back. They've always been interesting to me. I honestly didn't mind faction rallies back when those were a thing, but I definitely understand why a lot of players didn't care for them. They were a repetitive grind and not very rewarding. But it was something to do. A nice little side grind I can do if I wanted to mix things up a bit. Take a break from Strikes and Crucible and the other ritualistic game modes you play week in and week out. Just a nice little event that broke up the monotony of the day-to-day Destiny grind. Concluding that point, factions, bring them back. Pretty please. Lastly, number 5, repurposing blue and green gear and reworking the infusion system. Now, these are sort of 2 different topics, but I put them together here, and let me explain why. When you think of the purpose of blue and green gear, what is its sole purpose right now? To get you to the soft cap, right? For new players, you will be drowning in blue and green gear for a while when you start a new character. Sooner or later, you'll start earning legendary gear. Even if those legendary drops have crappy rolls, chances are they're going to be a vast improvement over the blue and green gear you may currently have equipped. Once you get stocked up on legendaries and exotics, any blue gear you may get to drop in the wild simply becomes fodder to infuse into your legendary and exotic gear, or they're just dismantled for Glimmer and Gunsmith materials. They have no real value in and of themselves. Many people in the community have suggested to just get rid of any gear that's not at least legendary and rarity, and I can't completely disagree. My only real issue with that is that not having lower level gear like that just makes legendaries seem that much more bland. Most legendaries in Destiny 2 are already way more boring than some of the worst legendaries in Destiny 1, if you ask me, so they're already down a path of becoming bland. Destiny 2 is saturated with legendary gear that is heavily underutilized. Out of the several hundred weapons that are in Destiny 2, there are only a handful of legendary weapons that are regularly used within Destiny 2 across PvE and PvP. Now, in the Beyond Light reveal event and an interview with Dr. Lupo, Luke Smith did hint at giving blue and green gear some purpose again. What that means exactly remains to be seen. Is this going to be like what we've seen in the past, where we will earn greens and blues until we hit the soft cap, and then just toss them aside once we've built up our legendary arsenal again? Or are they going to be reworked entirely, where blues might even have some value in some endgame activities? We'll just have to wait and see. But there you have it. This is my personal wish list for Destiny 2 Beyond Light. Remember, Bungie, they are my birthday wishes. It's only 5 things. It can't be that hard to put in the game, right? Regardless, I am stupid excited for Beyond Light. It is going to be a heckin' good time. I can just feel it. Well, once again, everyone, a big thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what your wish list is for Beyond Light in November. What do you want to see make its way into Destiny 2? What are you most excited for? Leave that all in the comments. I'm really curious to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button while you're at it too. It would mean the world to me. You can also find me on Twitch where I live stream from time to time, twitch.tv/thebigwiz. You can follow me on Twitter at _thebigwiz. Links to all those will be in the description. Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I will see you all sometime soon.